Hello ladies and gentlemen, and just before I get to this Fastlane review, I want to do a quick update on my health and my well-being. Now, if anyone knows what was the situation in January, I was very sick and I found out I had a kidney stone and I had to pass it and I would not be able to focus on doing my Raw, my TNA reviews. The most I've done is my Booking the Wrestler reviews. I want to say this, I passed the kidney stone around the 10th. But I was still having issues with my body due to the fact of running not only to the hospital once, twice. I had to go to the hospital 3 times. And the physical injuries I had made it very painful along top of the medication that I was taking. Passing the stone wasn't that bad. It was only painful when it came out of the area you urinate at the very end. I'm not trying to get graphic, but you get my point. I actually took the pain pretty well. It was the medication that was really messing me up. And then running to hospital, running to the doctors. I can't really sit in really hard wooden and steel chairs, which I did, and completely ruined my body. I can't do that with my injury. And I was doing it every day, on and off. Going to doctors, going to get checked, going to my regular physical therapy. It was too much. That's the reason why you hadn't seen much content on my channel. But I've been feeling a lot better, even though I still have issues with my back because of all that running around. So I'm still having more pain than normal, but I am going to be working on doing my, well, you'll be seeing tomorrow, my Raw review. I shouldn't have a problem doing Raw. Admittedly, I haven't seen TNA since maybe January, after January 5th, I have not seen it, so I'm very far behind, but I don't want to, I may see if I can catch up a little bit, but probably I'll just go from where I am right now. I haven't really seen last week's TNA, so I will hopefully be seeing it this Tuesday. So that's the situation with me. I wish to thank you for what you've given me. I probably will put a book stamp on how long this is, because I don't want to drag this out for you. You probably want to pass this. So let's get into Fastlane. Kickoff show. The only thing I really cared about was AJ Styles. The ADR Kalisto 2 out of 3 fall. Look, I've said this before and I'll say it again. This was a John Cena, Randy Orton rivalry type of thing. That's the truth. This is what it is. And I didn't expect, I'm about to say Sin Cara. I didn't expect Kalisto to job here. But he probably will job on this Raw. I don't think the challenge is over, because John Cena is not there, so ADR has no one to deal with. And even though League of Nations was shown later in the night, I don't think he's finished with Kalisto. I just don't see it. So let's get into the Fastlane review. I'm not doing this first. I'm not doing the tag team of the girls. No. The first thing I'm going to talk about is what happened with New Day, League of Nations, and Edge and Christian. A quick plug of Edge and Christian doing their show. Probably this show is going to be probably better than the work they did in the ring. Because I'm going to be honest here. League of Nations are not funny. They're just not. They're boring. New Day was hilarious. They were. Edge and Christian were not that good. And I loved Edge and Christian. But the problem is, I think they've been away too long from the ring. They could have done the Peep Show or the Cutting Edge periodically. I think they needed that because Edge was botching, Christian was not that funny, and it was New Day with Xavier Woods that was saving it. And that was sad. But now here's the question. Are we going to have the New Day versus the League of Nations? Oh my gosh. Have they resorted to letting the League of Nations, who should have been doing something more, now work with New Day? Or at least members of the New Day will be dealing with members of the League of Nations. Which, because Rusev now wants to get a championship with Sheamus. I don't know if that's going to sound good. To be honest, I don't want to see Sheamus or Rusev near the title at all. I don't want them near the tag titles. Lead me with the New Day. Throw me in the Social Outcasts, which I'll be talking about in a moment. Give me the Usos to a certain extent. But the League of Nations? No. No. I don't think they work well. This concept sucks. The person that should be getting a little more view, which is Bad News Barrett, is not getting anything. ADR is now buried with Kalisto. And when it comes to Rusev and Sheamus, they're doing absolutely nothing. Now, Social Outcasts versus R-Truth and Goldust. Sorry, I had to. I'm sorry. But you know what? When it comes down to it, ladies and gentlemen, the Social Outcasts are beginning to win me over. Bo Dallas, being the straight man, makes it funny. They're not as funny as the New Day. I'm sorry. You cannot put Adam Rose up against Biggie Langston and actually think Biggie Langston is not going to be more funny than Adam Rose. It's not going to happen. Hey, baby, we are going to kick the ass of the New Day. No. Even with that accent, it sucks. It just sucks. I'm sorry. But with the Social Outcasts, he's doing pretty well. Doesn't mean he's doing great, but at least he's doing something. Now, that entire match was trying to make the Golden Truth. Let R-Truth and Goldust work in the back generally. Don't let them rest so much. Then it'll get over and it'll be even better than the Social Outcasts. Somewhere between the Social Outcasts and New Day, you can easily throw Goldust and R-Truth. Do that and I will like it. If you make them wrestle all the time and do absolutely nothing, I'm just going to piss on them. So I have to say it. Now, next thing. Seeing a German commentary team there was different. I mean, we always see the Spanish team and the regular English team. Now they're doing their videos in Germany, which is actually a wise thing to do. Germany is a very hot commodity right now. To be honest, I'd rather have seen the Germans get introduced before the Spanish announced team. Unless I might be mixing them up. I think the Spanish announced team was announced before the German team. Let the German team be announced first for a little while. Let them get some interest. Hell, this is something they should be doing with the Spanish announced team. Do it with the German team. Let them go in the ring instead of Michael Cole and give us something interesting where they'll talk, if they can talk English, which I believe they can talk English. Let them go in there and then let one of the guys translate into German. That actually would be something different instead of just announcing them and then letting their tables get broken up. Anyway, here we go. The first match I'm going to talk about. Owens versus Dolph IC Championship. Now, I know a lot of people liked the match. It was a good match. They both technically were decent. But here's the thing. They talked too damn much. Dolph has touched Kevin Owens too much. Kevin Owens has touched Dolph too much. Even though seeing JoJo talk with Dolph Ziggler made it more interesting because JoJo's a very beautiful young lady. I wasn't interested in this because Kevin Owens has bothered with Dolph Ziggler too much. Dolph Ziggler has bothered with Kevin Owens too much. There's nothing special about it. And even though they did a good match, I didn't care. And I didn't expect them to let Kevin job here, so that's that. That kind of goes with what happened in the six-man tag, which is the Wyatts versus Ryback and his compatriots. Here's the thing that gets me. The first music that played, they played two different types of music. The first music, didn't it sound like AJ Styles' music when he was the lone wolf at TNA? Now, I'm not saying that AJ wouldn't use that music. A lot of people believe that if he had used that music, that would have been substantially special. Because the music he's using is not bad. But if you allowed him to use that music, since you are allowed to use that music, TNA doesn't have a lockup on it. They have the rights to use it. You could have done something even more special with AJ Styles. Let him be the lone wolf. Let him be something special. taking little aspects of TNA and throwing it into his WWE run. Because before he started jobbing, before he left, in a certain extent, when he dealt with James Storm, when he dealt with Kurt Angle, he was different. It would have been something dramatic to hear that song. That's one of my favorite songs. Not one of my favorite, but I like it. It's a good favorite song of mine. And I would have liked to hear AJ use it. Now, of course, maybe AJ didn't want to use that. Maybe they offered it to him and he said no. Or maybe Vince said, hell no, we got this music, we're going to use it for the freaking Wyatts. Fine. But the situation with the entire match was it was all big guys. And there was no variation. The smallest guy there was Ryback. And even though Ryback jumps around a lot more than most of his previous matches, the dynamic wasn't right. You had too many big guys in one match that have been touching each other too much. Just like what happened with Kevin Owens and Dean, I'm not about to say Dean, and Dolph Ziggler. Same situation. It was wrong. So let's move on to Brie and Charlotte. I was hoping that WWE would not pull the trigger on Brie becoming champ, and I'm glad they didn't. But that does not mean they won't try it tonight, because this is being done before Raw, before that new Vincent F. McMahon Legacy Award. So this is being done before then. So I am so hoping that Brie's not going to get a rematch, and then she gets it on Raw. Look, I'm going to say this truthfully. It would be good for Brie to get the championship in one respect, not for storyline, not because the people like her, but because Daniel Bryan's going to need money still. I'm seeing it from that perspective because he needs that. Until he decides what he wants to do, maybe he's going to open up his own dojo and teach. Maybe he'll still be doing something from the WWE in the back, or maybe he may go to another company and work with them. Even if he doesn't wrestle, he can do something. Like TNA would love him right now. People go crazy if he goes to TNA right now, even if he can't wrestle. Make him a fucking general manager of TNA. TNA would fucking explode because people love him so much. But until then, they need money. So that would be the only reason I would want to see her have the championship. Other than that, it makes no freaking sense for her to have that title. None. She hasn't been built well. Only thing she's done is job for several months. She's had very little talking. The only time she's ever won is when Daniel Bryan's been there, so that made it even worse for her. So I'm glad they didn't pull the trigger on it. But here's the problem I saw. If Brie has decided to combine more of Daniel Bryan's own movesets in with her own, next to her kicking shin protectors or calf protectors, she needs more work. Because she was incredibly sloppy trying to transition from one move to another. When she went from the yes lock to a Boston half crab, not a Boston crab, to a half crab, that was incredibly sloppy. Other moves were very sloppy. If she's trying to improve her style using her husband's movesets, I really wish she would go to NXT for a little while and work there. Work between NXT and the main roster. She needs some work because her movesets suck. Trying to combine her current stuff with something entirely foreign to her, and she's not a grapple wrestler. She just is not. I'll say one thing for Nikki. She's become a better power wrestler. I'm not saying she's a better all-around wrestler, but she has become a better power wrestler because that's how she's booked herself. Brie is not a power wrestler. She doesn't have the same physique, even though they are twins. So it just doesn't work for me. Now, 2 more things left to do. No, 3. My mistake. I have to do it now. Becky and Breed. Becky and Sasha versus Team Bad. I knew this was going to get bad for them. I knew Naomi was going to get fucked here. She has a new outfit that makes her look very nice and athletic. I knew Tamina was going to get fucked here. Tamina still wears the standard outfit she always has. Now, a lot of people say she's boring, but it's not about always having better clothing. It's about having a good moveset. And in general, I always believe Tamina has always been a very good power wrestler. She's a great one, but she's a good one. Naomi is a very good athletic, high-flying, and grapple wrestler. I believe she's that good. But what do we get? We get a double tap out on Team Frickin' Bad. And I know we're trying to do something with Sasha, and the crowd cheered for Sasha. And I know a lot of other reviewers are not going to give a damn about the Team Bad. But I'm one of those few people who really believe that if everyone in their frickin' mother has gotten that fucking belt, how come the Samoan, Japanese, and Fijian and the black woman has not gotten it? What is the fucking problem here? There's a good chance Sasha Banks is going to get that title. And she's a light-skinned black woman. There's a good chance Becky Lynch will eventually get that title. Eventually. Because she's Irish. People like Irish. So why the fuck is a mixed blood Samoan, Fijian, and Japanese in a Tamina and a pure black woman who's dark-skinned and a Naomi not getting fucking at that title and even getting it? You get maybe once or twice for each of them, and that's freaking it. And I'm calling bullshit on this. It's not because they can't act. Hell. Look at Summer Rae. She can't act for shit. This is bullshit, and I'm calling it bullshit, and I'm going to keep calling it bullshit until one of these women finally gets a title and gets a chance to know what it's like, what they've been waiting for freaking years. Now that I got rid of that rant, the best match of the night for me, AJ Styles and Chris Jericho. I enjoyed the dynamic. I enjoyed the interview with, oh, JoJo's so cute. Why does she have to be so freaking young? It's not fair. I'm about to turn 45 by July. And I may look very young for my age. Look at me. I still got some hair in my head. I'm not that old, but I couldn't be with someone that young. People will think I'm just some type of nut. It's not fair. But JoJo's gorgeous. But anyway, when it comes down to it, the interview with Chris Jericho and JoJo was good. The opening, with both of them having their openings, their intros, was good. The match quality was very good, and the story was good. You got an AJ Styles who's been everywhere. The only thing they never mentioned is TNA. And you got Chris Jericho who's been everywhere except TNA. And they've been put together for the sole purpose of giving AJ a reason to be wanted and loved by the crowd. Both sides were cheering for both of them. And it wasn't about being a heel. It wasn't about being a face here. It was about getting AJ over. And I really did like it. And at the very end, Chris Jericho is willing to shake AJ's hand, even though he don't like his ass. Give him a quick shake and call it a day. And they move off, and then they're going to still have their feud, whatever they have. I'm alright with that. Was it cheesy? Yes, but I did enjoy it. Finally, the match we've been talking about, want to talk about, is going to be Brock, Dean, and Roman Reigns. And here's the thing. Brock was made out to be the Beast. And they booked him as the Beast. They booked him to be practically indestructible. And then they had to put him through 2 freaking tables to show how indestructible he is. Because it took everything and the kitchen sink to try and keep him away from those two so they can have their time to fight. So in this respect, Brock looked great. For Dean, he was a hometown boy. He represented himself well. He did whatever was necessary to try and get that title. He just lost the IC title. He's doing whatever it takes to get this title. He beat the crap out of his brother. And he looked pretty good doing it. Not great, but good. And here's Roman Reigns, which I think is the one who got the shortest end of the stick, even though he won the match. For Roman Reigns, he didn't have to struggle as much as Dean and Brock Lesnar. Dean was focused on by Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was the total focus of Dean and Roman Reigns. But when it came to Roman, he got the lightest treatment of all 3 of them. And I think that's the reason why by the end of it, a lot of people were not cheering for him. They didn't give a fuck about him, most of them. Not all of them, but most. They knew he was going to win it. But in general, when it came to this, I felt they just tried to be a little too easy with him. It might have been better to put Roman Reigns through a table and then Brock Lesnar to a table. And then you had him win that way. But having Brock go through 2 tables, then getting chair shots, then getting hit and hit and hit again, just felt like Roman was in the background. And I felt that didn't really do that very well for Roman. And that's the situation I feel like. Roman really got the short end of the stick of that, even though he won. Doesn't mean that Triple H isn't going to put him over at WrestleMania. Because at the end, we see Roman Reigns and Triple H together. But I do believe Roman Reigns got the short end of the stick. Out of anyone throughout the entire show, taking away from Team Bad, Roman Reigns did not get put over as well. So how do I feel about this? It wasn't a bad pay-per-view. But I honestly wasn't that enthusiastic about it. Maybe Elimination Chamber, that's if that's the next one coming up. I might be more enthusiastic. But right now, maybe it's because I'm still in pain because of all the craziness of my sickness, of my kidney stone and running around. But I wasn't really enthusiastic about this minor pay-per-view. But that's just my point of view. You guys tell me below. And I hope you enjoyed this pay-per-view of Fastlane 2016. Give me a comment below. I am still doing my booking the wrestlers. I am going to be doing the next ones. Well, I have The Miz already done. And that will be the next one that's going to be uploaded either tonight or tomorrow. That's already been done for a while. But I'm going to be working on 2 guys. 2 guys I believe that should be in the world title scene. And you will find out about them soon. Have a good day and have a good night. Peace!